mean, a lot was said about the World Cup prior to it, and some of the things that were the arguments against it. But to be honest with you, it lived up to every expectation. And just on a footballing perspective, I thought it was an excellent World Cup, topped off with probably one of the best finals you'll ever likely to see, with two of the world's best players going head to head, turning up. And that was a big thing. I think all the best players turned up, really, and that was wonderful spectacle. And as I said, a great advert.
All coaches and managers look for trends and new ideas. What did you spot that's interested you?
I'm not sure I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of different styles, a lot of, in terms of things. Teams like Morocco were very disciplined. A lot of the disciplined sides got through and got to sort of advanced stages. I think probably the two best teams got to the final, which was justifiable, and that shows that structurally they would have had to be good, but also the individuals were excellent, because I didn't think France played particularly well, but then one individual turned up for the last 10 minutes, and that's what world class players do. So I think trends wise, like, there's a lot of different shapes. People play back three, back four, pressed, sat in, defended the box. All the things you have to do in a football game came out, I think, in the World Cup. But the big thing for me was individual players, really turn up. There's a lot of penalties in the game, in the World Cup, but and I think a lot were on VAR, so maybe that wouldn't have been the case years gone by. But no, real good advert for football.
The other fallout from the tournament domestically, I suppose, is Gareth Southgate's decision to stay on. Good call?
Look, normally I wouldn't have any vested interest in an international team, and the England one, with the greatest respect. But Gareth's a good friend of mine, and I've managed to work on a few occasions with Gareth, and it's a logical decision. He's done wonderfully well there. They've been so close to doing something in the tournament. They've got to a really advanced stages, finals, semi-finals, quarter-finals, and then sooner or later, especially with the youth they have in the squad, that's going to gain more experience and more quality. But he's done a wonderful job. I mean, with the greatest respect, he's one of the most respected England managers. He speaks fantastically well. The way the team play, they're adaptable. They've got a bond. The team, he's built a real club spirit there, and that's a credit to him. And he's done fantastically well. To win a tournament at the highest level is very difficult. But he's shown that he can produce a team that's consistent. He's stuck by players. So I think he's been an excellent England manager, and a credit to himself. But I already know that.
To bring it back to here a bit more, one of the players that was touted as a possible for him was James Ward-Prowse for the tournament. He didn't make it. From what you've seen in the month you've had to get your feet under the desk here, what have you made of James? Would he have made an impact there? Do you still think he's got a big future as an international player?
Oh, he's definitely got a future as an international player. I have no doubt about that, because he has the quality. He has different qualities to other people that make him a good choice. Now, I'm not going to comment on him not going to the World Cup, because that's a decision that's out of my hands before I got here, and that's a decision that we as a football club respect. For me, on a personal point of view, I've managed to work with James for a month now, and I've been delighted from the first day that he knew that he wasn't going. His professionalism has been absolutely outstanding in terms of everything. His attitude, the way he's trained, the way he leads, how he's bought into everything, and I've really enjoyed working with him, and I hope he can say the same. But what a great professional, and we're really proud of him here at Southampton. One, because he's Southampton one through and through. Two, the quality he produces season after season, and he is a seasoned England international. Yeah, he hasn't gone to this tournament, but that's the motivation now to get back in that squad.
We've had this month's break. Lots of clubs have managed that period differently. Some have had matches, some haven't. Can you give us a little indication of what you've been up to here for the past 4 weeks?
Look, we've trained hard. We've given a little bit of downtime initially straight after the Liverpool game, and then we came back in, and we've had some real two real good weeks. Then we went away for a week, and then we've been back for a week, and then now we've got a big lead in now with the game tomorrow at Lincoln, and then Brighton. So we've always looked at those games in mind. We've had some friendlies. We had behind closed doors game. We had a real good positive result and game against Bournemouth on the weekend. So we're really happy, in terms of the level we're at. Another game tomorrow, which will be a real competitive game in the Cup, and that gives us an opportunity to really sort of turn things up and to turn the pressure up a little bit, and to play a competitive game in front of our own fans leading into a Premier League game. But it's a vitally important game for us, but we feel we're in a really good position. We've managed to get almost everyone back. Just obviously Tino and Juan are the only two really that haven't done significant training and things. So no, we're looking forward to this period.
And how much of a priority is the Carabao Cup for you, for the club? How fully loaded will you go tomorrow?
Look, it's the next game where we treat every competition. I've always, as a manager and as a person, treated every competition I've been involved in with the greatest respect, and we'll do that here. So, not to give anything away, that it's a game that players will want to win. It's a chance to get into the quarterfinals, which is never to be sniffed at whatever club you're at. So we'll take it seriously. That's all I can say is we'll take the competition seriously. We'll have one eye on Brighton in terms of 4 or 5 days time, a busy period, but a lot of people got minutes on the weekend. More going to have to get it tomorrow, but we want to win the game.
The opposition, what do you expect from Lincoln?
A real tough game. Look, I've been on the other hand. I've brought teams to Premier League teams and had a right go and tried to cause an upset and taking Championship sides to Premier League sides. We've done it a number of times, and even League One. When we League One and League Two, we went to Newcastle, we did Leeds, Aston Villa, and really wanted to cause an upset. And Lincoln be exactly the same. They beat Bristol City obviously in the last round. We were a good Championship side with real good players. So it'll be a tough game, and if we take it lightly, we'll get beat. So that's what we can't do. I know Mark Hendy really well. He's done a really good job. Obviously a rebuilding thing there, because under Michael Appleton they had a lot of loans and got to the playoffs, and then when the loans go back, then the club gets sort of not so much the heart ripped out of it, but a lot of the top players who they had, their Brennan Johnsons and people like that, then go back and then they have to rebuild, and now he's starting to do that, and they're in a real good position, and it's a good club. I know, come up against them many times.
Thanks, Nathan. Big week for you, your first home games as Southampton manager. So League Cup or Premier League, you want to show the fans that this team is playing how you want it to play. It's a big week, isn't it?
It looks to
behind you.
Oh, absolutely, it's a big week, but it's a chance for us to win a football game, and that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? It'll take time for them to play exactly how I would like them to play, but we're getting there. So I hope to see a starting point tomorrow, in a competitive game, and then we can build on that. But I'm a winner. I want to win games, and I want us to have that mentality. So tomorrow, by hook or by crook, we want to win the game. I would love it to be a fluent, entertaining performance where but it might not be that. But the important thing is that we take a positive step tomorrow.
And actually getting to a cup quarter final is exciting. Remember, it's the League Cup or the FA Cup, because then you're one game away from 2-leg semis and all the excitement that comes with that. I love the League Cup for that, but actually it's a great platform tomorrow, isn't it, to go from? Because not only would it get you ready for Boxing Day, but it gives you fans and everyone something to look forward to.
Absolutely, and again, it's the next game, and it's a cup game, and and that's what we want to. That's what we want to do. So we'll be, as I said, it's a really exciting time. It's an exciting week. That's the thing. It's at the end of the day, it's Christmas week. We just finished a week of a World Cup. So normally you'd be thinking, right, okay, we're going in July and summer and where people are going for their holidays. But it's actually Christmas week, so it's a very exciting week, and especially when you've got two home games. My two first home games in a week leading up to thing. Won't be long before Santa's here, so it's a big week.
What have you learnt about this squad you've inherited that's encouraged you most? I remember you saying after the Liverpool game you've learnt some things from that match, but you've now had a month, 5 weeks more. What have you learnt about the players you have?
It's a humble group, and it's a group that wants to get better, and that's the best thing a manager can have. Now, certain things that we need to improve on from obviously the first half of the season, and obviously in the time that we've worked with them. But they want to get better, so it's up to me now to make sure, me and my staff, that they do get better. So I'm excited, but I wanted to take little steps quickly, and hopefully now we've done that over the 4 weeks we've had to work with them, and hopefully we'll see some sort of seeds of that tomorrow.
Just out of interest about the schedule, usually people don't prioritise necessarily a cup game when you're about to have Christmas, but actually it's a bit different, because you've got 20th, 26th, 31st, 4th. There's like 5 days between each match. Are you more of a let's go for it every game man, or would you worrying about rotating and keeping everyone fresh, because they should be pretty fresh?
listen, when you've been used to the Championship, 5 days between every game is an absolute godsend. So, with the greatest respect, we should be able to do that. And with the squad we got, we've got decent depth. We'll and getting people back as well. So no, look, we have to try and win as many games and get as many points quickly as we possibly can. We've got a big sort of 4 or 5 weeks coming up, and I'm really looking forward to that challenge. But as I said, it won't be, well, we'll be picking our games and trying to get this and trying to get that. We've got to try and get as many points as we can to get ourselves in a better position. That will set us in good stead for the remainder of the season.
Just finally from me, well, I've got a chance in this environment. We've got League Cup match, but then you have got one of your former clubs you spent a lot of years at come in as your first home game. What's your mind thinking about that Brighton match? It's a huge day, isn't it? Boxing Day as well.
Yeah, and look, ironically, the first game I ever took charge of as a manager, was Brighton at home on Boxing Day, when we played Reading, and things. So yeah, a lot of irony, a lot of coincidences. Club I hold dear to my heart. I would fortunate to play be at some very good clubs. And I had 2 spells at Brighton, 1 as a player, 5 years as a player. And 3 years as an assistant. So yeah, that's a club and good people there, and people I know, and people that helped me in my career as well, and things. So a club that I've got real affiliation for, but one I will be desperate to beat.
We're all deciding, by the way, that Alexis McAllister might not be in the right frame of mind to play by Boxing Day. They might not let him out of the country.
Yeah, well, hopefully. But as I said, look, we can't second guess that, and we just have to be. All I want is for us to be the best version of ourselves. If we concentrate with the best version of ourselves, then we'll be fine this season, and that's the point that we have to get to.
Okay, we'll move on to the section for 10:30 this evening. Start with you, Jake.
Thanks. Hi, Nathan.
Hi.
How have you found moving down so far? It's been 6 weeks now since you made the move.
It hasn't been, that bad actually in terms of things that we've got. There's a lot of people we know around here and stuff like that. So it hasn't been that bad, and the club are really welcoming. I feel at home already, and bear in mind I had a wonderful club. I left a wonderful club where I was really at home. This one I feel really at home very, very quickly, and that's a credit to the club, the people, and obviously us as people as well. So no, it's been excellent. It's been a real good time, and look, it's helped that we haven't had competitive games. Obviously, I'm saying it helped because at least you can work without the pressure of results. If we'd had 4 games in that and won all 4, then yeah, it would have gone through the roof. But with the greatest respect, us being able to do that work and has enabled us to settle pretty quickly.
Have you watched the team's games back from the first part of the season? What are the main takeaways?
Well, we're on game 9, so we've watched 8 plus working with the players, and plus having to do Lincoln and Brighton again, a real feel for all the division. And yeah, look, there's a side here that have been on the wrong end of a few margins in terms of results, and that's what we have to turn. We can't keep being unlucky in any way, so we have to turn certain things. But there's a squad here that wants to work hard, that wants to run around, that wants structure, that wants to work, and I've had really open mind, and I've been really pleased with that, because with the greatest respect, when I sat here a month, 5, 6 weeks ago, people were like, well, how's he going to handle Premier League players? Well, that's not been an issue. We believe and we trust in our work, and they've bought into that, and we feel we're in a really good place.
Just on those margins, I think Southampton kept 1 clean sheet in the first half of the season, but it felt like that a lot of the defenders were probably the top performers in the team. Do you put that down to structural issues or those fine margins?
I put it down to fine margins. As I said, there's certain things we have to do better. We have to keep clean sheets and score more goals, and if we do that, then that's a good recipe. Because if you can keep clean sheets, then you got a point, and if you can score goals, then you'll get 3, and that's as simple as it is. That's the the be all and end all. Those are the 2 bookends, if you like, and then everything that comes in between that. If we get the bookends right, then everything that comes between that will hopefully be positive as well.
You mentioned you want to see a starting point for your team tomorrow. What are those key principles that you've been drilling in Spain and over the last 4 weeks?
You mate Mark Kennedy or something. You want me to give you a thing? No, look, we want to make sure that we iron out our identity and start to build an identity of our own, and I hopefully you see. I hope we sat there tomorrow at 10 o'clock and you see, look, I can see certain things forming there in terms of how we play, the intensity we play at, what we try to do. It's going to be a real tough game, but I would like to be sat there in the 10 o'clock tomorrow night and having won the game and having been convincing winning the game. But that's going to be tough because we know that Lincoln will be tough opposition.
Just finally, what's the coaching dynamic been on the training ground? Obviously you and your two backroom staff, but as well as Ruben as well. Has he had a saying in any of the training sessions?
If we win tomorrow, I've done it all. That's what's happened. But no, look, we've got good people that can coach. I like to take a lot of structural stuff because at the end of the day, I want our identity to be shaped by myself and then my coaches. But we've got Alan Shane who works religiously, set plays and structure there, and then we've got real good coaches. Chris Cohen, who I brought with me, knows exactly how we work. So there's been a real, obviously he's been heavily involved, and then we know that Ruben's an excellent coach and has been vital to how we've done stuff, bought into everything and what we've done. It's been a joy, and then Carl has supplemented that with the knowledge he has and especially the relationship he has with a lot of the players. So look, we've had a real good dynamic. At the end of the day, look, I control that dynamic, but I give the people I work with a lot of autonomy to do their jobs, because I've been in the position of Ruben, I've been in the position of Chris Cohen, I've been in the position of Carl, and having that empathetic experience, if you like, is brilliant, because I was at Brighton as an assistant, and managers had to inherit me because Brighton believed in me, and I had to prove my worth, and I did that because I had an open mind, and the coaches here have done that. So it's been an excellent dynamic, and as I said, the staff here have been fantastic. They really have.
Good afternoon, Nathan.
Hi.
You mentioned Tino briefly. Obviously, he's coming back from a very serious injury, the kind of injury that takes a long time, even once you get back on the pitch. Where is he at in terms of his recovery?
He was in a real good place, and then just picked up a few little sort of illness bugs and stuff, which has set him back. But he's in a real good position, looking strong, looking quality, and we know we've got a fantastic player in our hands. So we've got to be careful with him, but we'll push him as safely as possible. But he's someone that we're desperate to get back.
Is it the kind of thing where you can put any sort of time frame on it? I know sometimes it's hard with this kind of injury.
No, look, it's a January thing, but it's just how he reacts to the tempo and how he reacts to more load. He can be in a wonderful position now, then we load him. He does certain things, and we have to be careful with him. So, but he's the most wonderful professional, the most wonderfully diligent young man, and that stands him in good stead to have a full recovery, and we'll be pushing that for as quickly and as safely as possible.
Fantastic. I know fans will obviously be excited to get him back on the pitch whenever that does happen. Obviously, the League Cup oftentimes can be an opportunity to play young players, play academy players. Obviously, you also need to make sure that you get through to the next round. It's a tough balance, but you must be already so impressed with the academy at this club. I see you've been to a few of the B team under-18s games. There's players playing for England's youth teams across pretty much all the levels. That must be such an exciting thing to inherit as part of this club.
Yeah, look, it really is. I know that. First and foremost, we have to get results so that we see the benefit, or I personally see the benefit of those young players. So that's the be all and end all at this point. But it's really encouraging to see the football club in such a healthy state. And look, that was one of the reasons why I came here, because of the health of the football club, how it is, the environment, the culture, the people. Then you look right through it. The squad, I think, is strong enough, and especially with a couple of additions, to do well at this level. And then you look down at the B team, are in fantastic form. You look at the 18s, the way they play structurally, the alignment now with us and the academy is excellent. So look, we're really proud of that. Southampton have had a wonderful history of producing players, one of the best, at producing players, and we want to make sure that we continue to do that. And then also we're bringing in young players as well, the likes of Tino, the likes of Romeo, Juan, all these players that we bring in, and we have to make sure that we develop those so that we keep producing players, not just through the academy, but through the first team as well.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I mean, you mentioned additions to the squad. Obviously, January seems to be coming incredibly quickly. The focus naturally has to be on the next few games, but have there been discussions about the January transfer window?
Look, if you're an organised football club, you do your recruitment well in advance. At my previous club, we were 6 months in advance, always looking at windows, always looking at the next level, always looking at pushing boundaries. And here they're exactly the same. We have one of the best recruiters in the world in terms of Rasmus, and now Sport Republic in terms of they do that. So yeah, we've been really regimented in terms of what we want. We've been clear in what we want and what type of player, what position, and everything that we want. And we've narrowed that down, and we'll be having conversations to try and get those through the door as early as we can, because there's certain things that we need, and we need quickly. So yeah, they're well in advance. But any well organised, well run, really diligent football club will have already done that in weeks and months in advance. Obviously, it's been difficult for Southampton because of change of manager. So only 6 weeks ago could we start, but we've started immediately.
And I guess January can be so frantic, so to have those plans organised is so important. I mean, just sort of lastly for me, I think when you took over Luton for the second time, you came at sort of an interesting point in the season because it was during the COVID break. You obviously then had sort of a month to prepare for the restart of the season. Has this felt similar in any ways? Has there been similarities? Has it been very different? I'm just curious how you've been able to draw from that experience.
Well, I hope we get the results we did then. That will help. But yeah, look, it's pretty similar in terms of just a quick fire bit of work being able to be done. It's been slightly different, obviously, because they were not able to kick a football really, and they had sort of months without doing anything. We had to really build, and then there was 9 games, and I think in about 4.5, 5 weeks. So we really had to, and then within those 9 games, we had a 7-point deficit to cut back and to survive. So it's slightly different, but there are a lot of similarities. But we've they're in good physical shape anyway. So it's not like we've just done lots of structural work so that hopefully we can become a better team.
Appreciate it.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi.
Has there been anything that surprised you about the squad? You've had a bit of time to work with them. I know you've had a lot of the younger players involved in training. Is there anyone who particularly stood out as a surprise to you?
No, look, we've been not as much pleasantly surprised, but we've been pleased with the level, the level of commitment and quality and energy around the team. We need certain things, and we need those quickly. We know those, which we'll obviously keep in house, but. No, I've been really pleased with the buy-in, really pleased with the quality levels, and as I said, look, they're Premier League and they're Premier League players, and there's a lot of good players. A lot of them I knew prior because I come up against them. People like Shea and Armour and people like that I've come up against. People like Stuart Armstrong I've tried to sign, Joe Aribo I've tried to sign, Tino Livramento I've already tried to sign in past things. So it's a lot of players I already know and things. Alex McCarthy I actually played with. So as I said, it's a good squad here. It's just we've got to make sure that we get the best out of every single one. So it's not like pleasantly surprised. A few people have gone, oh wow, I can see the levels that he has, and that's the good thing. I've been pleased with the levels that I've found, and that's a good thing because I'm not sitting there like alarmed and thinking, wow, how are we going to get results? Like that's not the case. It's a really good group here.
There might be a few that you perhaps weren't so well, the likes of perhaps Sekou Mara who came in the summer, perhaps a bit more of an unknown. Is there anyone there that they haven't had that perhaps played as much that perhaps could see as a sort of breakout star in the second half of the season? I
think there's a few in there that probably haven't played as much in the first half that could, and maybe some that were that did play that have got now I feel have got real competition, so need to really earn their place. So yeah, there's that competition in there, and I'm really pleased. And we want to see that. And Sekou's a young guy and coming in, with the greatest respect when you're a young player coming into the Premier League, the most unforgiving league in the world. Sometimes it takes time to settle, and I think probably the first 6 months that Sekou's had is probably and likes of him. It's been a good learning curve for them. So as long as they learn from that and then continue to strive to improve, then we'll be in a better position this second half.
How important are the experienced players in the squad to you in that sort of transitional period of getting to know them and getting to know the squad?
I think experienced players are vital anyway. You know what I mean? Because basically they're experienced. So with the greatest respect. The younger players who play with a freedom and a zest and an energy and sometimes without any fear haven't got that experience yet, and there'll come times where they'll need to lean on people, and where we're going to need that experience in the squad, and you can never have too much experience in your squad. Obviously you want youth and legs and energy, but you need that experience and quality, especially at this level, because as I said, it's the most unforgiving league, and we've got some good experienced players. We've got a lot of nationalities, which is an interesting dynamic, but that's where we've had to gel and try and get the best out of all of them. But look, we're in a better position. I feel we're in a better position than we were a month ago, which is ideally all you can gauge.
When you went out on the training camp in Spain, Oriol Romeu joined up the squad. Was that something that you were obviously aware of, but beforehand, but was that something that you were happy to have happen? And how important was that? What did he tell you while he was there?
Oh, he's a wonderful human being, And the first time I've met him, I knew all about him anyway, because obviously, as I said, my father-in-law and family are all Southampton fans, and he was a wonderful servant for this football club. And without giving you a headline, I'd love him still to be here because of his leadership qualities, how he was, and so on. That's not to say that we're not happy with the people here, so I'm not giving you a headline there, but good, honest, hard-working, talented, winning human beings we love here, and he's one of those. But what a wonderful human being. I had a real good conversation with him, and he's delighted. And it's that type of club. I think if Sadio Mane or Virgil van Dijk, I don't think they ever speak a bad word about their time at Southampton. So it's that type of club. So we'd always welcome people back, and it wasn't a distraction. It added to, because people like to see them. People always like to see good people, and that's what Oriol is.
How did that come about? How did him joining up with you out there?
Well, he would keep in touch with the Lord, and they were just down the road on their camp, so it's a logical thing, really. It's just a logical thing, and I'm glad he did it because it was great to meet him. He's had a wonderful career, really doing fantastically well now, where he is, and that just shows the professionalism. And as I said, I'm delighted to meet him.
Thanks very much.
And I know obviously man management is a really important part of your approach and everything. I was struck, I think, I heard Ramon Perot say that understandably the results before you came here had seen the players' confidence get knocked. Did you inherit a bit of a fragile group that you've had to try and build up a bit in terms of their own self-belief, would you say?
I don't really want to comment beforehand, and that would be disrespectful to the previous regime. But what we've had to do is say, look, this is what the team we want to become. These are the work that we are going to do. Buy into it, and this is the team that we will be. And they've all done that. And I don't think I've seen a lack of confidence or anything. But what I've seen is a real buy-in to the work that we have done. That's all I can comment on, and I've seen a real buy-in. I've seen a real zest and an energy, and at times they look frightening. At times I really get it hammered home to me that I'm at a Premier League club because of the quality we have, and I want to see that, and I want to encourage that, and I want to see the best version of the players we have here, and that's all we can do. That's basically why I've been brought here, because I'm used to working with not the biggest budget in any league that I'm in, but getting the most out of those resources, and that's what we have to do here.
Would you say, do you learn different things about players in an environment when you're away, when you sort of round the clock, if you like, little habits and things that since you've been back here maybe, and obviously you have the concentrated sessions, is it a slightly different dynamic being away versus being with the players here?
We've learned plenty about them in terms of personally and in terms of things. It's been a real good one. One of them owns a vineyard, and we got to sample his wonderful wine. So to be fair, we've learned plenty about him. So it's a good group. We want to get the best out of this group. We want to demand from this group. We want this group to buy in and to really have an edge to it. And that's going to come over time. We've had a good month with them. We've learned lots about them as humans, especially about them as athletes and players. And the more time we spend with them, the more time we get to cultivate them, because that's what it is really. It's a cultivation process, really.
Without wishing to reveal too much, were there sort of opportunities for initiation rituals and that kind of thing? Were you asked to sing a song while you were away or anything?
I wasn't, but I'd have no problem singing a song. I mean, it is the land of song where I'm from, so I'd have no problem doing that. Confidence has never been an issue for me, obviously. Ability was, but confidence never was. So I'd have had no problem doing that, but no, I wasn't. But we had some social time. We took them out for a meal and let people relax a bit, and it was good. I'm a big believer in creating an environment, and you can't just create that environment with just hammering work home. That's not what I do. I don't believe in that. I believe we work hard, we get opportunities to socialise and to let their hair down slightly in terms of getting to know each other in a different environment, and we've been able to do that. So with the greatest respect, we've been able to do that, but now all the real work starts, because ultimately creating an environment and a culture will only get sort of highlighted if we get positive results. If we don't, then that'll be the focus.